Hello guys. So I already ended the class, but unfortunately, my network was very bad. Luminous network. It got disconnected along the line. So, hey guys, we are going to start our class now, and just like a recap of what I said earlier in that particular um, video. So, let's see. We say we are going to be learning Excel, and part of what we are going to be learning will be discussed to us. Today is supposed to be a live video. So today is supposed to be. Now forward it now. Forward it. Okay. Yeah. So just I will talk about something. See there. I don't try using Gmail. It's no work. Mm. Okay. So we said this is the face behind the camera. My name is Abdul Karim Rabitel, and I will be your coach for today. We are going to be learning how to we are going to be learning how to work with Excel sheets and everything that has to do with Excel from beginning to the end. So for those of us that are already experts in Excel, please do do bear with us till we get to the place where you are needed. So for today, we are just going to be on the introduction parts. We are going to talk more on the introduction parts. And for us to begin with the introduction, now what is Excel? I don't like defining Excel, but I will just tell us that Excel is one of the most popular tool when it comes to data entry, data validation, data mining, and even to analyze the data. For those that are just maybe starting up and maybe still the students, you may not actually know what all these are unless maybe you engage in some extracurricular activities where they get to talk about the use of Excel and all that. But for those of us that are already in the industry and are using this in a day-to-day workspace, you will understand better what I am trying to say. So if someone just made a complaint that the class has not been showing that am I audible? I'm talking to myself. This is about 3 minutes into the class, and I'm not seeing anything. I don't know. Okay. Sorry. Let's see something. And also, let me just before we talk, this is the first live class that or live video I'll be making on video on Facebook rather. So if there's any, just let's take this first class as a means of me trying to get used to how to use the Excel. Okay. Actually, that's okay. So coming please. Um, I'm trying to set up something because I heard that the video is not playing. But it's showing here that I'm live. But I don't know why it is not playing. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Okay, so the volume is low. Sorry about that, and I'm going to try a bit to make it audible. That's I'm at work, so I may not be able to shout on top of my voice, and I don't want people to like what's going on or Taiwo. Okay, so we are just going to start all over again. So I was saying Excel is one of the tools that as an accountant or as a student of finance, whether a student of finance or not, this is a tool that you need to know, that you need to master. Because in some organizations, they might not even look at what you studied or whatever. They want your input, what you can provide, the value you can add, and the skills you actually know. Okay, so Excel is one of the tools that everyone that wants to be in that position must be able to use. Because when you look at some job roles today, some of the requirements is that you must be proficient in the use of Excel. So this is not Excel. If you can see my screen, this is not Excel, but it is what it is Microsoft's tool. And for you to be able to give reports, you must also be conversant with the use of MS Word. That is Microsoft Excel Word. Okay, because with this Word you can also create a lot of things. Yeah, you can create your resume. Understand? You can also you can also use AI on it. So these are things that you also need to input your daily progress at work or at school. Okay, today you must have your today list. I want to do this, I want to do that. You must also know how to use your Microsoft Word. But we are not talking about that today. Our focus is on what? Microsoft Excel. And for that, so Microsoft Excel is a tool that everyone majorly need the knowledge of it, either basic or to advance. But for this class, as I said earlier, that we are going to start from the very scratch of it, so that you can know every bit of what Excel looks like and every bit of how to do your assignment or whatever it is to be done on it. Okay, so let's quickly go to the table of contents. We said the introduction. The introduction we are going to talk about, though, what we are doing is also part of the introduction. So we are going to talk about the major thing that you need to know in Excel. I know, try to align it with one or two experience that I have gotten in the search of work. Though I never searched for work, I was working, I never searched for work. So for those of us that are mastering Excel, you also have to be patient with us till we get to the part where you actually need something to be done. Also, I want to hear our view. Which parts should we actually talk about? So that if you are going to this table of content and it is not part of it, we can actually add it upon the table of contents, so that you can also get to answer your own question, or maybe we are facing difficulties. Okay, so introduction, then the workbook. A workbook, we are going to explain what a workbook is. As I said, we are starting from afresh. So we are going to explain what a workbook is, what a worksheet is, so that we can be able to differentiate. When I'm saying worksheet or Excel sheet or Excel, what's Excel sheets? You need to know all of this so that you can be able to master your work. So that if you are seeing a place that you have added sheets, you know what it means that you added. Okay. So we also talk about creating and saving of workbook. We also need to learn how to create and save your workbook. But if you don't save it properly, then you may have confusions here and there looking for your work. Okay. Then another thing we're going to learn is also correcting the content of a cell. You are going to correct the content of a cell. There are different ways of correcting it, but in this class, we're going to use the easiest way of correcting a cell. Then we're also going to learn what is a cell. What is a cell? Because in this table of contents, you also see another place where we write cell. So you ask yourself, what is a cell? Then also changing column and width and row width. So a column and the row, how do you change the size of it? The length, the height, and others. How do you change it? We're also going to learn that easily here. You don't need to be going to the ribbon, the tabs, and others to find where changing of rib is. We're going to learn the easy way. So this class, we're going to be learning easy way to all of this table of contents. Okay. Then also we are going to learn how to insert rows and column. What is a row? What is a column? When I started Excel, I actually got confused to what is a row and what is a column. I was confused. Okay, I do interchange them. But for you that you are watching this video and you are going to keep following up, you are going to know and you don't get confused anymore, just like I started earlier. Then also we're also going to learn how to insert a worksheet. Yes, a worksheet. We're going to learn how to do that. We're also going to learn how to delete a row and how to delete a column. Don't forget, we're using the easiest way by using key, all these short keys. I get overwhelmed when I see people, using Excel, and they are still right clicking and left clicking and going to the tabs and all that. This is because they are not that familiar with the use of Excel. But if you are familiar with it, you should be able to just use your keyboard. Press 1, 2, 3 key and you get your answer instead of right clicking to select, we start scrolling down to the options and all that. When you know how to use your short keys, all these things will become very easy for you, okay? Then also we are also going to learn how to delete a worksheet. How to delete a worksheet, God. You're also going to learn about that as well. Then you're also going to learn how to, hide and unhide. Well, this may not be useful, but we're also going to try to put that. Then merging of a cell. How to merge a cell. Maybe you have a table of content, or maybe you have, for example, your surname and your name and all that. You want to merge them into one cell. So there's a way you can do it. You write the name in a cell and it's just more than that cell width. You can merge everything over so that it can be visible to whoever is reading it. Okay? So you're going to learn how to merge a cell. Then also copy and paste. This we are not going to use right clicking, left clicking. What we are going to be using is just short Excel keys. Okay? Then also freezing and unfreezing of panel. We're also going to learn how to do that easily in this class. Then also how to lock and unlock a worksheet. You have a sheet that you have prepared, you have worked on an Excel sheet or this thing, and you want to share it to others, maybe through WhatsApp, through mail, or what have you. You need to lock it so that the person will not tamper. If the person have anything to ask, they will actually get back to you. Then you explain how you got the figures. If you are using a proper Excel formula, the person that is also conversant will not need to ask how you got this, unless maybe your calculation and your Excel arguments are actually wrong. So you are going to learn how to lock your Excel sheets and also how to unlock the sheets. You can lock the sheets, you can lock a column, you can lock anything in Excel. We are going to learn that in this class. Also, how to rename a sheet. Excel automatically have a name for all sheets that you just created. So for this class, we are going to be learning how to rename that sheet. For example, you want to send a sheet through mail, via email, or Outlook. Excel will actually set the name for you. But if you want to send it out to maybe a third party, you need to actually receive that thing so that the person will understand what file you are sending to him or her. Okay. Then also how to type, backspace and delete. All these are easy. So far you've been using phone. All this should be easy for you. But if you've not been using, and one thing again that I also need to talk about is that, you see, this class is not only for those that have a system. No, it is for everybody, either you have a system or not. When I started reading about Excel, I actually don't have a personal laptop of my own. Okay, but then I do read, I attend classes on it, which I paid for, master classes. I paid for them, and today, when I started using Excel, it was very easy for me to communicate with, or very easy for me to understand. So I'll be sharing some of my experience as we take on the class, so that we make it a kind of a live happening. Okay. Then also we are going to what's understanding cell referencing. Okay. Earlier, I think in the first 3 contents, I talked about cell. So for you to know what cell referencing is, or how to reference a cell, you need to actually know what makes up a cell. So we are going to talk about what makes up a cell and how to do cell referencing. If you want to do cell referencing, you need to know what a cell is, because by the time you start locking a cell, or you want to lock a cell, you may get confused. Are you locking the cell number or the cell alphabet? I call it number and alphabets for a purpose. So when we go into the class, we are going to understand what I am actually talking about. Then freezing and unfreezing, we talk about this. Then addition, we're now going to the arithmetic aspect of Excel. So we're going to talk about addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, sum, products. We're going to talk about all of this. And one thing I want to tell you is that you don't need to be putting plus this and that. You just use the easy. Don't forget, this class is about ease. We're going to make your work easy. Okay? So easy. Then we are going to talk about how to use your counts, how to use your Sorry for that. We are going to talk about how to use your counts, how to use your counter. These are different Excel commands. Then how to use count blank, maybe if you're working as a data analyst or maybe you want to cross check your work. Then max, maximum, the minimum for the scientists, accountants, economists. You may want to learn how to do or how to use all of this. Then medium, then SQLT. That's going to learn about mode. Then talking about the logical functions, we are going to talk about the if function, the nested if. That is for those, we are going to explain this nested if for those that are using an older version of Excel. So instead of using ifs, I'm going to use nested if. Okay. Then we're going to talk about and, where to use and, where to use or, if error and all that. Switch, absolute cell referencing. See again, cell again. So that's why you need to understand actually what a cell is. Then also we have relative cell referencing, mixed cell referencing by cell locking, statistical functions. That's what we have count ifs, sum if, and sum ifs, and all that. So as time goes on, we are going to add some to these our contents basic. Perhaps you have a part that is not clear to you and you want us to talk about it. So what's actually brought about this whole class? Don't forget, today is just for introduction and just us joking around, okay? So what's actually brought about this class? As I said, Excel is one of the tools that is used worldwide. And if you are willing to actually scale through and make your work easy, you need to actually learn how to use Excel. Though organization matters, maybe in your organization what you just use in Excel is just the easy formulas, the sum, the minimum, the addition, subtraction, and all that. So you may not think you need to know others. You may not think, but in the future, as a person that wants to grow, you need to actually learn more than just those things. So that wherever you find yourself and they ask you about Excel, you can be able to you can boast about your knowledge or your skill of it. Understand? So in Excel, we can do a whole lot of things, and it wowed me when I see people using Excel and they are actually still very slow about using it. They are using their right click and all that to look for. When you can just command Excel, you can just command Excel to do a thing for you. So in all of these things, we are going to be using a work, and I will not send any file, but I will show us how to get files using ChatGPT. Okay, we are going to prompt it to give us what we want. Then we'll start working on what it gives to us. Okay, so this is what we are going to do. This is part one, and the class should end by now. But before we end, let me see if there's any comments so far, or if there's anything you want us to talk about. Please kindly put that in the comment section, so that after this video we can actually look at it and see if there is any thing we need to undo. Okay, so when you look at this the Excel tutorial, what it is all about, so it is for you to learn. For those of us that are yet to start using Excel, or for those that are using it but you are focused in a particular Excel function, like I mentioned earlier, so you need to learn Excel and what you work with it. So you join me in our next class. As I said, the class is going to be twice a week, but because today is Tuesday, Wednesday rather, we can't take 2 classes today. So from next week, hopefully, we are going to start working with the plan, that is to have our classes twice a week. But next week again, I may not be available because I might be on transit. So for that case, I will still try as much as possible for us to have, even if it's just 1 class. So when you follow up on my posts on Facebook, you should be able to know when the class is holding. And for those that are on WhatsApp, view my status, or those we share group chat together, I will always share all this link to us so that we can start working with it. So I don't know if we should take more time, because this class actually started late. So let's see if we can talk more about something. So when you open your Excel, it is going to give you this front page. So this is going to be the interface I want to meet. So you can either create a blank workspace, or maybe you have a a prepared format that's an Excel expert has already created for you. Oh, okay, that an Excel expert has already created for you. So you may not actually bother yourself about the interface we are looking at just now. So I'm going to click on this workbook. So for those that want to learn further, you can actually read through all of this. Welcome to Excel, formula tutorial and others. You will click on it, then Excel will actually tell you how to give you some guideline on how to do some things. Okay, so these are the function of formulas. So Excel is going to tell you how to use all of this. So you can see all the sheets. So Excel can also explain all of this. But this is not where we are going to today. Today we want to learn from from scratch ourselves. So I'm going to click on this new sheets. So it's going to bring us to this new interface. And in this new interface, you're going to see, you see file, you see home, you see insert. As an Excel user, you need to know where to find what you are looking for. And for that, in my first Excel class, our tutor actually gave us an assignment to go and look at the tabs and what the ribbons consist of. So if you're looking for, maybe you want to freeze your panel, where do you go to? You start looking for home, you start looking for freeze. You don't need to do that. All you need to do is what? You go to view. There you see. You can see your freeze panel here. So for this class, our introduction, we are going to quickly cover all of this. We are going to rush through actually. So let's start from the first one. So the first tab is what? We have the file. So we have new. If you want to create a new worksheet, then we also have open. If you have a worksheet that you want to actually work on currently, you can click on open. Okay, let me be going down. So you can click on open, so you can see. Then also for info, this is another thing. To save your file. So instead of coming here to save your file, so these are actually a long way for someone that is not an Excel expert. You have to come down here to save your file and all that. So that these are stressful. We are going to learn the shortcuts to save our file. Then save as. If you want to save your file in a particular location, either folder, renaming your sheet and all that. So you come to this save as. Then print. If you want to print, you also come here. Then also if you want to share, you can share as anything. You can share as PDF. You can share to mail. You can share to whatever you want to do. Okay. Then you can also export it. So if you want to export, you can change the format. You can change format to either Word, to PDF, or all this. Then to your account. So these are the format size that actually talks about your Excel, what's it called, the update version and all that. So this is about the file tab. Now coming on to the home tab. Coming on to the home tab, we have the copy and paste. To cut, if you want to cut your worksheets or you want to cut anything, so you come down to cut. You can also paste. Then you can also clean. Okay, you can also clean some of the items that are on that particular cell, as the case may be. So you see your clipboard, you see your cut, copy and paste. So this is your paste. This, like scissors, is your cut. Then this here is your paste. Then all that. Then the next one is what? Your fonts ribbon. So that's where we have the types of fonts you want to use. For example, you can see here is what? Calibri. You can actually change it. You can actually change it. For me, if I want to work on Microsoft Word, what I do use is, if I want to print out, I use Tahoma. It gives me a professional, and suitable, what's it called? So that's what I use. Let's say you can change it back. Okay. So you can change your fonts by clicking on this arrow here. So it's going to bring down some drop downs, and you can select. You can select. For those that use Canva and other designing tools, you can actually get acquainted with this easily. So you can see, you can type in Arabic, in Hebrew, and whatever language. So that is for that. On that, then we also have the size. You can increase or decrease the size through here, but easily it's just for you to come down to this A. So if you are typing on this A, so it's going to make your size or your font bigger. You can see, smaller. when I click on it, it's going to make it smaller. Then this other one, if I click on it, it's going to make it bigger. So instead of coming down here to select, but if you have a particular number in mind, you can come down here to select. But mostly I don't use all of this. What I do is to click on the big size or the small size to do it for me easily. Then also you can also underline. So you can underline your work. You can also make it in Italy, that is to make your text in Italy, and you can also make it bold. So we are going to be using, instead of coming up here to start, clicking on all that, we are going to learn the shortcuts, short keys to all of this. Then this as well, you can also you can create a border for your work, for your design. So during the work, during our class, we are going to learn how to do this easily, and mostly I prefer using the customized. I prefer my own customized, so I customize my own design and all that. So we're also going to learn that if the time permits. And this here is to color your cell. Don't forget to color your cell. So this is currently yellow. You can click on this drop down to have different color to select. Okay, so you can change and all that. Then let me change it to blue. Okay, that's sky blue. Then you can also change your text. This right here is to change your text. So for example, let me type in this place. Let me type text in this place. So that is black. I can decide to change the font color. So I'll click on it. I can make it white. I can make it blue. I can make it orange and all that color. Okay, so you can change that as you like. So let's be working with it. Let me make it a bit bigger. Okay, so that is on font ribbon. Then also we also have alignments. So if you want to align your text, either to make it the upper alignments, this is the first one, or the lower, the middle alignments, or the lower part or bottom part alignments, you can also do all that. So when you start typing, you start noticing the changes in all of these things. For now, since we are just having just a set to work on, we may not actually understand how it actually works or how the change affects this. Then also we can also do the left padding. Okay, we can do the right alignments to move our the text right. So when you look at this text here, you can see it is now in the right part, right text. So if you want to make it to be the left, so you come here, you can see it has changed position. And this here, the middle one, is going to make it to a center. So that is the best, and that's what I use most of the time. So to do your and this also here, this up here is going to make it's going to wrap your text. Maybe for example, let me continue typing in this cell. Let's say, okay, let me go down. Okay, let's say I want to type in something like this. Testing. Okay, I think that's good. So testing, you can see this testing now has expanded to the second. Okay, I will not talk about that, but it's called cell. We're going to talk about what cell is. But first of all, we want to understand all of these ribbon and tabs. You understand? So let's finish talking about this testing. So you can see it has shifted to another cell, and it is not even that visible. So you can come to this wrap test here under your alignment. You click on it, so it's going to align, and everything will be visible. That is, if you want to maintain this cell size and width. We are going to talk about how to actually make everything visible also, but now we are not there yet. Okay, I hope this class is still I hope I'm still audible enough. Okay, if I'm still audible enough. Then also we can also merge and center. So this is actually to merge our work. Maybe this testing now, you now want to make it to go forward to these two cells, so you can merge and center. Okay, you can merge and center. You can see now. So this cell, these two cells now is now one cell. You can see A and B. So it's now two cell. Two cell now merged into one cell. So that's that on that. Then also we move further to the number tab. The number tab, this is where we have your accounting, your currency. Okay, to add and decrease the numbers. Okay, let me put an example. Let's say this, for example, we want to type 1. Okay, let's type 12 here. So this is 12. So this is 12. Okay, so in this, I'm explaining this our number tab. So if I'm to put the currency, I can choose whatever currency I want, but we don't have Naira here. So for Naira sign, you can actually use asterisk, That's hashtag. You understand? So you can use that tag for that. So we can actually put this into percentage, and you can make it into to add zeros. That is comma to add zeros. You can increase the zeros by pressing on this. Then you can also decrease the zero by pressing on that other one. Okay. So that's that on that. Then the last one which we are going to talk about is the what? Is the style. We have the conditional styling and the format as a table and all that. So we are going to be explaining all of this as time goes on. Then we have the cell, editing and all that. So secondly, we are going to be to the insert tab, where we have our pivot table, our recommended table. So we are creating Excel. You want to maybe submit your work to in management, so you can actually give it in a table format so that it will look more appealing to the eyes. Okay. Then you can also illustrate. Okay. So you can illustrate. You can show our charts, our graphs, pictures, shapes, icon, and all that. So these are actually statistical tools to use. So you can see our charts here, different types, and all these, the line graph and all that. Okay, so you can see the line graph here and all that. So I'm not using this. Okay, so that is what this side is. The sensor and how to add a link and all that. So you can also, from this Excel, you can actually access our online. You know, if you want to buy something, you can access the online from this Excel. You don't need to go and download it and come and insert it. You can, from this Excel interface, go online and download whatever you want to download. Okay, then we also have the page layout. The page layout, where we have the themes, the color, the margin and orientation, the print area, okay, and all that. So we have all this in Excel. So I said about while we were going to the table of contents, we saw how to change the column and the row width. So instead of coming down here, so now note that it is under what? It is under page layout for you to change your width. But instead of coming here, we can have our own ways. We can do it with within few seconds instead of coming down here, and that's what we are going to learn. But just for this tutorial, I want to learn what all of these tabs contain. Okay, so you can also add grid line. You can also remove grid line, as you can see. Remove the view of grid line, and you can also put it back. Then you can also add headings. You can also add headings. Then and you can also input a picture and bring it forward or bring it backward, as the case may be, for your own taste. Then we'll go further to the formulas. So this formula actually gives us, instead of coming down here, you can actually use just the, if you know the formula of L, you can just go there and type it in. But for this tutorial sake, we are going to be looking through all of this formula we have. So we have the auto sum. Then if you have been using some functions or some formulas, so instead of maybe for you to know which one you have used so far, you can just come here and try to see, okay, and try to see which one you want to quickly use. Okay, then that is and that. Then you can also use logical functions, where we have the if, the if, the and, the false, the if error, just like we saw on our table of contents. But when we start the class, we're not actually going to start coming here. We're not going to come here to start looking at which logical function to use. We are just going to key in whatever one we want to use. Okay. Then as well, you can also use all of this. You can merge what's it called? You can merge text together. You can shift. You can also replace. Then you can also insert theme. What's it called? Date and time. So instead of coming down here, we have a formula. A simple shortcut for us to just start our dates. So you can just put it there. So you can just start. You can just put it there. Okay. Sorry. So we can just put it there to get our dates and time. Okay. Then also we can also do VLOOKUP, cell referencing, relative cell referencing, absolute cell referencing, mixed cell referencing. When you go to the table of contents, you will see all of this. So we are going to learn about all that as also. Then also maybe when time permits, you can come here, but this is not a thing I will want to do because it is complicated. Okay, so just because we are doing you know a very simple something and we want to assist ourselves in all that. So also this we are not going to talk about this, but we might have to talk about that. So and all others that are also here, you can do calculation options, you can also remove hours and all that. So these are what you can do. So if you have an Excel on your system, you can actually try out what all of these things, what they do. Then we go further to the our data tab. So that's where we have our functions to manage and what analyze our data. Okay, in this we can actually, as I said earlier, we can actually access an online or a third party file or information from this. So from this our data, we can get data online. You can get from maybe from a third party or maybe from other sources. So these are the sources you can actually get your data from. Okay. Then also we also move further to our sort and filter. We can also what's it called? We can also refresh our page and filter just to maybe make some parts appear and make some others disappear. Then you can also use all of these forecast, what if analysis. If you are analyzing data, large data, you can use what if analysis and all that. So these are things that we might be learning in this class. I hope you stay with me till we are able to finish all of that. Then under our review, that's where we have our proofing and collaboration. So you can actually send your work to other persons to work on it for you. So also under here, this is where we have our protect sheet and protect workbook. In our table of content, we talk about protecting of sheets. Maybe if you don't want someone else to actually have access to those things, this is almost true. So you can actually give out your work either protected or not protected. Maybe you want the person to actually access only some parts of the worksheets. So you can lock those parts that you don't want them to have access to. Understand? Because when they have access to it, they may actually change some things which will disrupt all your efforts. So that is under what? Under the review. Okay. Then also you can also check spelling. So maybe before you submit your work, you can tell Excel to actually check and do word count and maybe correction of grammar, spelling and all that. So you can actually access those through this review tab. Then also we have the view. So this will adjust your display settings. Yeah, it will adjust your display settings, your page break, the page layout, this customer. You can also customize your view. Then also the grid line, you can also decide to remove it. You can decide to remove. You can decide to add a heading. As I click on it, you see the change in the format. So that is on that. Then also we also have zoom in and zoom out, all that. But there are easy way to do all this. Instead of coming down here, as I said earlier, you can decide to use a very simple short form or shortcut to this. Then if you want to open a new window, if you want to arrange your window, and if you want to also freeze your panel, you also find it under the what? Under the view tab. Okay, so also if you want to switch between windows, maybe I want to open another Excel, I can click on this. So it's going to open another window for me. So then also the final tab, or the second to the last, but I say it is the last, depending on the Excel you are using, the version you're using. So this is the help version, or the help tab, where you are going to find some functions like contact the customer service and feedback and all that. So this is this on this. So tomorrow or next week, sorry, we are going to talk about this workspace here. We are going to talk about here the sheets, how to add sheets and all that. Don't forget, we are working with our table of content. So in our next class, we are going to be talking more about the workbook. Okay, we are going to go detail into our class. I hope you have a wonderful day. And don't forget, if you have anything that you think we should talk about, don't forget to share that. Okay, so we are going to end the video here, and as I said earlier, don't forget to reach out if you want us to talk about any parts, if you want us to show anything that you don't actually understand.